released from prison after serving 16 years for a crime he did not commit. Here's a look at that encounter.
Get out!
Well, welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thank you so much for streaming with me on your Friday afternoon. We want to get right out to some breaking news. We know that a suspect has been arrested in a double shooting of 2 Marta police officers. Our Kim Leffler has been following the latest on this story. Kim, I want to check in with you and ask, what are you learning right now?
Well, we know U.S. Marshals took the suspect into custody a little after noon today. He has been identified as 26-year-old Christopher Daniels. They took him into custody over in Guntersville, Alabama. We also learned the name of the officers who were injured in the shooting, and we have their pictures as well. We have some video to show you of them. The Marta police chief says Raven Thomas was released from the hospital here this morning. She has a shrapnel injury to her knee as well as temporary hearing loss. Carlos Williams has a gunshot wound to his arm. He's undergoing surgery here at Grady. Now, the Marta police chief tells Fox 5 this all happened at around 11:30 Thursday night. He says his 2 officers saw the suspect, identified as Christopher Daniels, urinating on the 5 Point Station platform. When the officers confronted Daniels, the chief says he got angry and fired several shots at them as they were trying to arrest him. The chief says neither of his officers fired their weapon during this confrontation. Police used station cameras to determine Daniels jumped onto a train and then exited at the West End station. That's where we're told he also threw the gun that he had on top of the roof. Now, here's what the chief told us about the moments leading up to that shooting.
But once he saw the police and they tried to interview him and talk to him, he refused and got very agitated, and to the point where they felt it was in their best interest to put hands on and put him in custody. So when they tried to handcuff him, they got the handcuffs in one arm, and he used the other arm to reach in, pull the weapon out, and fire behind him. He fired a total of 6 shots, and both the officers are extremely lucky to be alive today.
And right now, we know that Daniels drove to Alabama and was picked up in a traffic stop. Right now, it's unclear exactly why he was heading out there. The chief says he doesn't know that information at this point other than to evade arrest. But he did emphasize that even with this shooting, Marta is still safe. In fact, he says crime is down overall at Marta, with aggravated assault down 32% compared to last year and robberies down 13%. Again, one of the officers already released from the hospital this morning and recovering at home, and the other undergoing surgery this afternoon and is still in the ICU here at Grady. Ariel.
Kim, just incredible. Wonderful that those officers are expected to make a recovery from this, and incredible the risks they face in just trying to keep people safe. They were telling this man not to urinate in a public space, and then all of this unfolded. Are there any lingering questions you have or things you're trying to figure out as the reporter covering this story? Anything that still stands out to you?
Well, we know that Daniels is going to be transported back to the Fulton County Jail. We're still waiting to find out the exact charges he will face in this shooting. We're also still waiting to learn exactly when Officer Williams, who underwent surgery here this afternoon, will be released from the hospital. The chief hopes it'll be soon. And of course, as soon as we get that information, we'll bring it right to you.
Kim, thank you so much for keeping us updated on this story. You guys, I want to switch gears to something else we've been following here in our newsroom, and it deals with, you're taking a look at video from earlier today of a news conference that happened earlier in Clayton County. We know that more than 10 kids were living at a church in Clayton County, and they're now being kicked out. Earlier today, we heard from Clayton County Fire and Emergency Services about the situation, so I want to bring in our Tyler Fingert. And Tyler, you've actually been covering this story and taking a look at the latest. One of the big things, the leaders during that press conference, we were just looking at video, they said they wanted to combat misinformation about the story. Yeah. What's this all about?
Yeah, so really, they just wanted to, we've covered this story. We covered it for the first time back in last week on Friday. Fox 5's Christopher King covered it. And so really their big goal with today was being able to set the record straight, tell everyone exactly what they are seeing in terms of what their investigation found, and then what action they took and why they took it. Because the church is saying one thing, they're saying something else, and they wanted to be able to put facts out there to be able to talk about exactly what happened to prompt this the removal of a dozen teens.
Okay, so 12 teens were living inside of that church.
In the basement, yep.
In the basement. Why were they living there?
So basically there was a flood that happened at their Riverdale location. So the teens were being temporarily moved there. And so this morning they held a press conference. We're going to show you video, obviously, of all the different things that they were talking about. We heard from our folks up there, from the fire chief, the police chief was there. And during that news conference, the Clinton County fire chief said he wanted to clarify the facts that we were just talking about. And he said, now Faith, Apostolic Ministries was improperly housing the young people, violating fire codes. Basically, these teens were under the supervision of the State Division of Family and Children's Services, living at the Rex Church in a basement. Clinton County fire officials said the church did not have the proper fire protection systems in place, like a lack of an alarm system, a lack of fire extinguishers. During the news conference, they showed pictures from July 29th, which is when they actually took action when they found out about all of this. And that's the day that the youth ended up being removed. The pictures show wood actually covering windows. So if there's a fire, they can't get out.
No.
And then they also were talking about that basically, if the rooms didn't have the fire suppression system, they weren't going to be able to actually put out a fire if something like that would, if a fire would pop up. And that's obviously a huge concern.
And I see that from the video.
Yeah, the video. You can just see the different pictures that they were showing, like in that one right there. And just the different things of how they just didn't have the appropriate stuff in place to be able to handle a fire if something would pop up. In one of the pictures, there was a generator that was inside of a building. They weren't using it, but there's still gasoline or lingerings of gasoline in there. So if that thing would ignite, they'd have no way to be able to put that fire out. That's one of the rooms. You can see the picture, the plywood right there that's blocking the window. And so obviously lots of different concern with how all of this unfolded and why they wanted to be able to set the record straight to say how their investigation unfolded.
Understandable. So I want to ask you really quickly. I know that you spoke, or rather listened to the fire chief during that news conference. And before we get to that, I want to ask, what's your sense of this as a reporter covering the story? Is it the church was trying to do a good thing, taking care of these teenagers who otherwise didn't have a safe place to go, but maybe they weren't following the rules? What's the lowdown?
So I have not talked to the pastor.
Okay.
Fox 5's Christopher King did last week. I have reached out to his people today, a representative, to ask if he would talk with us. He did not. What they were saying, I mean, obviously this was a temporary situation. This was not supposed to be where these kids that were in de facto custody were supposed to be housed. Their place flooded in Riverdale, so they ended up moving up to Rex, to this church. And I mean, just gut feeling, watching it and hearing this for the first time today, covering it for the first time myself, you would have to assume that it was probably the pastor was trying to do the right thing. They had space to be able to take these kids in, or these teens in. Unfortunately, though, they didn't have, according to the fire department, the fire marshal's office, they did not have the right ability to be able to safely. Because in a situation like this, to be a boarding home, they also weren't zoned for this. They're a church. They're zoned to be able to have people in there for a Sunday service or for different things.
But not living there.
Not living there. And so in a situation like this, obviously they're cooking food in there, all of that. They had a kitchen in there. Problem with that kitchen is it was a hood, like if you go on, like if you're in a kitchen at your home, you may have a hood above your stove that takes some of the steam and all that, or the smoke, so it doesn't anything catch fire. There's supposed to be a fire suppression system on like an actual, like a, what's the term, like a commercial type of space. There'll be a fire suppression system to put out. That wasn't there. Fire alarms weren't there. There was also a locking door that they had that, if in case of a fire, does not automatically unlock.
No.
That was a big concern.
I would imagine
And as you saw in those pictures, you saw wood covering the window.
If someone needed to get out.
Yeah, you can't get it out, and if that's obviously the big concern. And so what the fire chief was saying to us during our press conference or news conference, it lasted about 25 minutes, and he took some questions. And the question I asked him was, knowing all of the issues that you guys found and the pictures you documented, you guys could have just turned a blind eye. Why was it so important for you to actually take that action and be able to remove these 12 kids immediately? And take a listen to what he told me.
When this was brought to his attention as the county fire marshal, and then brought to my attention as the county appointed fire chief, per the laws, which I went through earlier in my presentation, we have a duty to act. If I simply would have turned my head and not acted, and heaven forbid something happened, this conversation would be totally different. So once again, we acted strictly on the presence of fire code, in which we are authorized and from a legal standpoint expected to do to ensure the safety of these 12 young men and women.
And that was obviously the fire chief right there talking about it. You'd have to, I mean, I think anyone can understand. He's put into a position where there are rules, there are fire codes you have to follow. Here at our newscast, in our news building, our newsroom, we have a fire suppression system. You have to have a fire suppression system at pretty much any commercial building because things can get ignited so quickly, and then you can just see how tragedy can unfold.
The reality is too, right, if something were to happen, people will look at him like, were you aware of this? Did you know that this was going on? Why was nothing done? Tyler, what's next for these kids? Do you know where they're headed or where they will be staying?
So they were removed on July 29th. That was one of the questions that the reporters who were at this news conference asked. He wasn't able to tell us. DFAX hasn't responded to us either. There's just, I mean, obviously there's a lot of questions. They're obviously in what the Clayton County Fire Department would call a safer situation likely than the situation they were in because of a fire. I mean, we just know how quickly fires can spread.
Right.
All you need is something to catch. And the one thing I did not mention, which I thought was interesting, we didn't have a piece of the video, we didn't have the picture in our video that we were rolling, but there was actually a huge amount of flammable material right near the kitchen, I guess is what they were saying. So like wooden, cardboard boxes, just stacks of them everywhere. And they were talking about how that, if something would have, God forbid, gone wrong, that whole building would have gone up in flames. And they were all saying, we spoke to two of the Clayton County Commission folks. They were saying after the fact that we would be having a completely different news conference if they didn't take action, because a fire just could have been completely taken over that building, and we could be talking about 12 teens who did not make it out.
Well, thank goodness we are not. And definitely my heart goes out to those teenagers because they've been through so much to be there in the first place, and the transition that they have been through yet another move. So absolutely thinking of them. Tyler, thank you for your hard work on this story and being so thorough at answering our questions. I know you were at that news conference and will continue to keep us updated. So thank you. Guys, we are going to go ahead and see if we can get a check of your weather forecast. Tyler, Greg is standing by, and I'm looking at the radar.
It looks great.
Greg, it looks pretty nice out there.
It's just warm.
Hey, let's go get into the forecast here, guys, as we're looking at some scattered showers in the area. If you wanted to see what the definition of isolated is, this is clearly it. We've got isolated showers up here all across North Georgia, from LJ stretching back over to Blairsville, Harrisville, over toward Clayton. That's very, very spotty, and that's about what we're going to see for the rest of the afternoon, and also continuing into your Saturday. Sunday could be a little bit of a different story there, as we're going to be dealing with a better chance of rain. Now, temperatures out there really kind of dependent on your cloud cover. It's been kind of a partly sunny, mostly sunny, kind of depending on where you're at. Notice that Cartersville is checking in at 86 degrees, but 78 down in Stockbridge. Why? Because we got thicker clouds down this way. So it's just been one of those forecasting trouble nightmares that you have to deal with here, as we got definitely got the thicker clouds down here toward the south. Now, as we go through here for this evening, again, we're going to see that clouds kind of stick through here, but check out the temperatures back to the west. 97 degrees over towards Shreveport, 94 in Little Rock, and I'm not anticipating those 90s coming our way anytime soon. We haven't cracked 90 degrees since the end of July. Most of August, we've been very much on the cool side, and I think that's going to continue straight into our weekend. Now, we do have a couple things out in the tropics. We'll hit on this very briefly. We've got this little disturbed area off the eastern seaboard. It's only down to about a 10% threat, and it's going to continue to move on away. And then out here in the middle of the Atlantic, we got another area of disturbed weather. It doesn't look all that impressive as well, but But for the next week, it should stay quiet. I'm not seeing anything out in the tropics, probably not forming until we get sometime after the 16th or 17th of the month. So things pretty quiet. The story here is going to continue to be the easterly winds that are going to continue to fetch out of the Carolinas and keep the clouds with us, as well as sunshine. I think the northwestern zones will probably stay the warmest for us here, as the typical wedge zones are going to continue with those easterly winds all through Saturday. So Saturday will be an isolated chance, similar to what we're seeing right now. But Sunday, I think we'll see a little bit more moisture in here and a little more scattered thunderstorms here, possibility, especially down toward the south as we go into early next week. And then the rainfall chances are going to elevate as we get a little more of a southeasterly wind kicking in out of the Atlantic. So for tonight, decent night, 69, we'll say 64 to 69 range here for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, really not looking too bad out there. For tomorrow, generally in that 80 to 87 degree range, depending on your cloud cover and how much sunshine you're going to get. Once again, just a slim chance of a shower for you heading into your Saturday. All right, how about the rest of the 7-day forecast? Here we go, as we're going to keep it kind of status quo here right through Monday. The rain chance spikes up to about 60%. Then we'll take the rain chances down as we wrap up the rest of your 7-day forecast, and we see temperatures climb back up to 90 degrees as we head toward the end of the work week.
Greg, I love this forecast. It feels like a pre-fall, and I have to let the people who are streaming along with us know, Greg Majewski, it's your first time here on Fox Local with us, I think, at the 3 p.m. hour, so it's so good to have you. Bit of a question for you. Too soon for fall decorations? We're in August. Is it right to be rolling them out? What's your take?
Unfortunately, I can't hear you, so if I could respond to your question if I could, but I can't hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay, sounds good. We're going to come back to Greg in a little bit, but guys, wonderful forecast. If you are streaming along with us, I think it's safe to say that it feels a little bit like fall outside, maybe a bit of a teaser. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be checking in with our Kevin Stewart, who looked with the Secret Service at SNAP benefit fraud. It's a huge issue. I know many of you email us about this, so we're going to get to that story coming up next. Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming with us. If you're on our YouTube channel, drop us a comment on some of the stories you want to see, or if you have questions about stories we're covering this afternoon. It is Friday and we're heading into the weekend, but a big story that we want to get to. So many of you have emailed us about your SNAP benefits being taken. This fraud is an increasingly alarming issue, and our Kevin Stewart got to catch up with the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies as they begin to make this a priority. So, Kevin, you're in College Park. What was this follow along with the Secret Service like? What did you learn?
Yeah, it really is eye-opening. I think sometimes we think of just gas stations are where you might see this type of activity, but you see it at all kinds of stores, and we followed them across Metro Atlanta looking for these skimmers. And that's the device that they use to try to steal your financial information. I want to show you some video of that device right here. We followed the investigators around today, and at last check, they found 40 of them over the past 2 days, concentrating on dollar stores, mom and pop, convenience stores, gas stations, and grocery stores. I want you to take a listen to what one of the investigators told me.
Here is to do whatever we can to reduce the amount of EBT fraud in the country, as well as assure that the people who need these benefits get them. During the past probably 6 months, Secretary Rollins has made this a top priority in the agency. And so working with our federal partners, our state and local partners, we are out in every city.
Now, we have been following this SNAP EBT fraud issue for quite some time. It's probably been about 2 years ago when we really began to see this pick up, and in the last year, it's really exploded. At one time, of course, you could be reimbursed funds if you lost your EBT money, but there's no more money in that pot since, I believe, probably about late December, early January. So right now, if you lose your money, you're not getting reimbursed. So this has really become a big issue for a lot of communities. And so I wanted to let you listen to what this looks like.
The people who need the food most who are suffering, and it's a taxpayer that is suffering because of it. It's not to say that there aren't any instances where someone in a store or somewhere else couldn't be involved inside, but that's not what we're seeing to a large part. A large part, this is a transnational organized crime.
And that's an interesting finding because in the stories that I've covered and I've done in the past calendar year, 12 months, I've covered probably about 5 or 6 of these stories. And oftentimes people are saying, hey, this is an inside job. This is someone at the store. This is someone at DFAC stealing my information. But as you just heard, they're saying that's not what they're finding for the most part. This is about an organized crime effort that's transnational, so overseas.
Kevin,
Ariel?
this is just incredible. So eye-opening. You're educating me right now. Is there anything we can do as a consumer to keep our eyes and ears open? I mean, you were able to ride along with them, kind of see how they were looking at these registers. Anything we can do to help?
There's several different things but that people are advising. But I think one thing that I certainly came away with is when you look at the device, when you look at, say, the keypad, you should look to see if all the lights are up on the keypad. If you see some lights but not all, that might be a problem. If you see the keypad and it's a bit raised, that might be a problem. And they suggest just pull on it. And if it just pops off, obviously a red flag. So, just be really mindful before you put your debit card in there, your EBT card in there, to just kind of play around with it. They say most convenience store clerks, most store clerks will kind of get what you're trying to do. Another thing to keep in mind, tap. That's probably going to be your safest bet. Some people aren't comfortable with that, and obviously crooks are going to catch up to that, but right now that's not where they are. They say a really safe bet is to, instead of inserting your card, just tap.
Kevin, incredible. I think so many of us, like if you're inserting and that's where the thieves are getting your data or swiping, if tapping's a way to prevent that and then just pulling. I know when I fill up my gas tank, I'm often pulling on the credit card reader. Even though I do tap, I will still pull just to make sure there's no funny business going on. So, Kevin, thank you so much for giving us this lesson. I'm definitely going to be paying attention moving forward. So, thank you. Guys, I want to let you know about another story we're following, this time out of Cobb County. Imagine AI, artificial intelligence, being at work in your 911 call. If you live in Cobb County, now it's going to be a reality. They just became one of the largest counties to incorporate an AI-enhanced phone system into their emergency response. And our Eli Jordan joins us live now to give us a tour. Eli, how could this help me if I'm calling Cobb County in the event of an emergency?
Hey, Ariel. Yeah, I mean, this is going to change everything. I mean, this is the largest 911 center in the country to implement this. and it's called the Carbine Apex system. And Cobb County 911 Center has been training about 150 employees over the past few months, I guess, but they implemented this Tuesday. And I am here with Desmond Harris. He is the communications supervisor for Cobb County 911. Desmond, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing all right, not too bad. We're here at Madison's counter, her control system, and this is 911.
Yeah,
sitting right here. And so, tell me, how excited are you guys to get this new system? I mean, just state of the art.
we are very excited.
Carbine Apex.
New technology for us, so we are very excited to launch this and have this system available for our team members so we can better serve our citizens.
So, I mean, do you think other 911 centers are kind of jealous of you guys right now?
I don't know about jealousy, but it's some pretty cool technology, so they may be jumping on board.
But this is really important. You guys, receive calls from about, cover about 500,000 people, correct?
Yeah, about so.
And so one of the cool things here is if there's a 911 call and they couldn't talk, you guys can do something to where you send a link and then you guys can see what they're seeing on their phone.
Yes, absolutely. So the Carbine Apex platform has a dispatcher-directed live video and messaging function. So if I were to call into 911 or someone were to call into 911, Madison here could send us a link.
Can you show us?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Cool. All right, so Ariel, just imagine that, someone can't talk, they're in a closet because the perpetrator is there, and so they call 911, and then Cobb County would send that person calling 911 a link in their text, and then...
So Madison here just got that call. I got the link here on my cell phone. I'm gonna click on that, open this link here. We're gonna get allow, and allow
then,
one more time once that button pops up. And there we go.
So if Desmond was like in trouble and he wanted to show who the shooter was, well, there I am, the shooter. And so, yeah, you got it right there. They can see, the 911 operator can see what's going on. And then also, too, the AI can hear whispers and it will text it out on the screen right here. And it's pretty neat because, if someone couldn't talk, but they were able to dial 911 and get their camera open and punch this link, they would be able to see, 911 would be able to see what the situation was, and then they could send the same information out to whomever they dispatched. That way, the first responders would know exactly what they're walking in on. And this is just really, really, really cool. Have you guys, used the video text system yet?
Absolutely. So right now we're sending this out to everyone, making sure that our team members are familiar with it and make sure our citizens are familiar with it as well. We'll have to do a lot of education, letting people know we're going to be sending you a link and this is what this link is used for.
Gotcha. And that's really cool because, I mean, there's a lot of times where someone cannot speak.
Absolutely.
And then this hears all the words going on and it transposes it, Ariel, to where the 911 dispatcher can read it and hear whispers. I mean, that was just it. I was just talking to Madison just a minute ago about, how well it can pick up conversations. And Desmond had his phone just, sitting about, 10 feet away, and it was still picking up our conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It's
And
a really
so,
great
I mean,
product.
I think this is going to be a game changer. It has the location, Ariel, and it has the video.
Wow.
And it transposes any audio it has. And so this is major game changer for 911 dispatch here in Cobb County. And they serve nearly all of Cobb County except for Kennesaw, Ackworth, and Smyrna.
Yes, correct.
So
Yeah.
it's still a huge population for them to cover. And, they've, any given night, they have 20 to 25 operators in here. And, but they've got about 150 total employees. But, they've all had to been trained, geared up on this. And it's going to be a game changer once this thing, it's already rolling out. It debuted and they got it going on Tuesday. So time will tell. I mean, they'll be able to get there quicker. They'll be able to triage calls quicker. And also, too, first responders will know more about what's going on at a scene thanks to this Carbine Apex AI system they got going on and the texting to, any victim. And you don't have to accept the text if you're, just a typical call and it's not, major emergency. you don't have to accept it, or if you know, if you don't feel comfortable. But if you're in a situation, it's a great option to have.
Eli, I have so many questions, but I'm loving you
quick,
giving
hang
us
on.
this. Oh, okay, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
Yeah. Desmond wants to add something real quick. Desmond, what's up?
I just want to add that the tech upgrades that we've made completes our transition to next generation 911. So along with Carbine Apex, we've also implemented the AT&T EZNet system, which makes our phone system more resilient.
So no phones going down like we've had in the area before, and
Exactly.
people calling and getting busy signals and whatnot.
Yes.
Right on. Desmond, appreciate your time today, and thank you very much. Ariel, you heard it. I mean, you know, Cobb County 911 system, they're cutting edge, state of the art, the largest in the country to implement this.
Eli, I'm curious, is this system's currently live right now, or are they still in the training phase? Have they actually deployed and used it?
No,
with
it's
any
currently
of their...
live.
Okay.
It's been deployed this past Tuesday. It's not even been a week yet, and so but they've been training on it for a while. But yeah, it's just like 4 days old, actually.
Got
you know,
it.
in real world situation. So we'll probably learn more about it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how users interact with this, and then whatever, how they work around with the technology. If any shortfalls come up, how they're going to accommodate that, and also whether or not this video, if it's streaming, could be used in legal review or future court cases, and how that's going to look, because it could be something like an officer's body-worn camera. So definitely going to be interesting to see how this unfolds.
That's a lot like what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Eli, thank you so much for giving us a tour and exploring this with us. And again, if you live in the Cobb County area, this new technology is now live. So you would be able to stream in the case of an emergency to your 911 dispatcher and let the first responders who are coming to help you know the situation they're walking into. So Eli, thank you so much for giving us this look. Guys, we are going to check in on your weather forecast coming up next, and we're going to get a look at Panola Mountain State Park. We'll see you here in just a little bit. Well, welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thank you so much for streaming with me. It is great to have you on our Friday afternoon. Shooting sports in the hunting industry are a big part of Georgia's economy, so much so that Governor Brian Kemp designated August as National, or rather State Sports Shooting Month. And again, this is here for the state of Georgia. So Chris Rosenthal joins us live from Panola Mountain State Park. And Chris, you're going to kind of show us a little bit of why this is so important to our state. What do shooting sports mean to the state of Georgia?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a big number here, $2.7 billion. That is how much money just in 2024 shooting sports generated for our economy here. And it also accounted for about 11,000 jobs. So very important here in the state of Georgia. And that's why we have this proclamation this August. And it's a good time to, safely try some shooting sports. And that's why I'm here at Panola Mountain State Park. There are actually about 45 public shooting ranges across the state. And I am joined by Leslie Mobley here at Panola Mountain State Park. And Leslie she's an archery expert here. And she's going to show us a little bit of archery. But before you give us a demonstration, talk to me about, what is available here for, beginning archers or people who are experienced. What sort of facilities you have?
So here at Panola Mountain, we have 2 archery ranges if you have your own equipment. So we have a static range, which is where we are today. So we have distances between about 10 yards and about 50 or 60 yards. And then we also, if you are more interested in hunting or more interested in shooting animal targets, we also have a 3D range, which is about a mile-long trail that goes through the woods with different ranges, different size targets, deer, raccoons. We have a moose. So if you just really feel like that kind of shooting, you can do that as well.
So that's really kind of a real world sort of feel, as close as you can get to shooting a real animal, I suppose.
Exactly.
How did you get into this?
So I got in because my dad was an archer. Yeah. But I started in about 6th grade at joining a local club, took some lessons, and then decided that I kind of fell in love with the sport. So we offer those kind of lessons here at Panola Mountain. On the 2nd and 4th weekends of the month, you can sign up to take a lesson, and we kind of give you all the safety rules and give you the basics and kind of get you shooting as soon as we can.
Why don't we get a little demonstration? Show me, if I'm coming out for a lesson, what are you going to show? What are you going to show your students?
Okay. Do you want me to shoot or do you want me to show you the?
Why don't you show me a little bit first, and then we'll have you take a shot.
Okay, so these are the basic kind of bows that we use. These are popular with the National Archery in the Schools program as well. They're called Genesis bows. They're really great for beginners, and they're really great for a wide age range, size range. They range from about 15 to about 20 pounds, which is how hard it is to pull. Mm-hmm. And then we provide all the equipment. So typically you would also, you could use finger tabs, which protect your fingers if you've been shooting a lot. And then we also have the bows and arrows.
Great. Well, let's see how this works.
Okay. Oh, don't want to use that one.
And you can be left-handed, right-handed, it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. Anyone can shoot. The big saying in archery is that you can shoot from age 8 to 80. And even people over than 80 can shoot. It's a very adaptable sport, and we accommodate that here.
Okay, let's see. And how before you shoot, how far is this range here that you're shooting?
This one is about 10 yards.
10 yards, okay. Let's see if she hit the target.
Nope.
Oh, I'll give you one more here.
There we go.
All right, there we go. That's pretty satisfying when you hit one, huh?
Exactly.
So, absolutely. And there are some other parks here in the Metro Atlanta area. There are 45 across the state, but there are some others as well, correct?
Yeah, so several of our parks across the state offer archery lessons. Here in the metro area, we have Panola Mountain, which we're in Stockbridge, Sweetwater Creek in Lithia Springs, and then Hard Labor Creek in Social Circle.
Gotcha. All right, and you said on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yep, the 2nd and 4th weekends of the month. So on Saturdays and Sundays, we offer classes right now because of the heat. Mm-hmm. We're offering classes at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Awesome. Sounds great. So there you have it, Ariel. I might have to come out and try a class. I think you should too.
Rosie, watching her, I was like, call her Katniss Everdeen. She's out there shooting like it's the Hunger Games. This is pretty spot on. So if people are looking for some weekend plans, it seems like it'll be a lot of fun, and we can talk more about that. Hopefully, if we still have some time here left in the stream, we'll come back to you and get another overview. So Rosie, thanks so much for giving us a look at this, getting us outdoors on this Friday. Okay, guys, we're going to switch gears, because if you are thinking about getting outdoors today, maybe later this afternoon or this weekend, you're going to want to know what to expect weather-wise. So we have Greg Majewski here standing by. Greg, earlier I was saying it is starting to feel like fall because the temperatures have come beneath 90 degrees. But exactly, you're saying no. Tyler Fingert yelled at me from the newsroom and said, absolutely not, you're crazy. So
yeah, it's not fall yet. I mean, call this fake fall, whatever you want to call it. We're just getting a nice little summer break right now. You know, while we were watching that little segment going on there, I think we're showing the difference in our ages. You were thinking of Katniss, and I was thinking of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. If people are streaming along with us, they're going to get it all.
Oh, yeah. Well, the weekend's going to be good. All right. Let's just go and get that out of the way. It's going to be a little bit, still running a bit below normal on the temperature-wise, and we're going to still see what these little spotty showers. If you ever want to know what the definition of isolated is, this is definitely it. Most of it up here across North Georgia. Looking out some of these showers near the LJ area, Blairsville. This area's been hit with rain the last couple of days. Really, some pretty decent downpours in this area. But anything we see going into Saturday will be isolated. I think going into Sunday might be a little more scattered, but with that persistent easterly wind, we're going to continue to see things look pretty much similar to what the sky condition you're seeing out there right now is going to be, kind of a mix of sun and clouds. So, and that's going to have a play on your temperature as well. Now, notice in Cartersville, it's 84. Probably because they got more sunshine, but down here to the south, McDonough is at 76. That's because they got more cloud cover. So it's a little bit of the cloud-sun lottery, depending on how you want to look at it out there. And we're going to continue with this trend. So you see the cloudy conditions here, kind of from Gwinnett on down to the south toward Griffin. We get a little more sunshine up here toward the north between Gainesville and Canton. So it's just going to be that thing. As long as that easterly wind continues, we're going to continue to see temperatures below normal. A far cry from back to our west, where they're getting the summertime temperatures back. Shreveport at 97. And Little Rock at 94, so we're definitely getting a break there. Now that easterly wind is going to be staying with us here for tonight. Again, couldn't rule out a spotty shower here going in for tomorrow. So again, nothing too widespread. This is not going to amount to a whole lot much. In fact, through the entire weekend, any rainfall amounts we get are going to be pretty spotty and not really going to be a whole lot. That'll change next week, though, I think, as we get toward Monday and Tuesday. So again, rainfall amounts here through the weekend. Griffin maybe near a half inch, but generally not seeing a whole lot here on the model data as far as significant rainfall here across the area. But again, I think that'll change a little bit later in the week. So looking at your forecast here for your Saturday, again, we're going to see temperatures here climbing at similar levels to what we're seeing right now, into the middle 80s, low to mid 80s for highs. Some of y'all will get a little more sunshine. You might get into the upper 80s. Some folks a little bit cooler in the low 80s. This is kind of a cloud sun type thing here, as long as that easterly wind continues. And then through the week ahead, we're going to see temperatures here holding in the mid 80s. Best rain chance coming in right now on Monday. Then we'll back it off and the temperatures start to climb, flirting with that 90-degree mark as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday.
And I'm mentally planning my outdoor time around the rain chances.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, Saturday's probably the better of the 2 days.
Okay, good to know. Greg, this is your first time on our 3 p.m. stream with us. It's great to have you.
Well, thank you very much.
And I just have to ask, is it too soon to start decorating for fall? What's your take? When do we get to do it?
Well, fall's my favorite time of year, absolute favorite time of the year, but typically I wait until September, usually the first weekend after Labor Day.
So, Greg, I want to let you know, we're looking in our YouTube chat here for the folks who are streaming along with us here. And Dorothy Harp says, good afternoon, Fox 5 Atlanta. So she's telling us hello. And then Daniel Miller says, yes, too soon. So he's agreeing with you. He's saying, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, not quite. Just give it a little time. You know, I usually make my first official trip to Burt's Pumpkin Patch usually that first weekend in September.
Oh, yes. Love that. I also love, what's the apple place in LJ, I think?
Yeah, you go there or you go to J. Moore Farms up there north of Hall in Northern Hall County. That's another place to go as well.
If you're streaming, get out your notepad right now. Start taking notes. Greg and I are going to hook you up. We're going to let you know all the places. We're not gatekeeping. You know, we're going to tell you.
I lived in North Georgia for the last 20 years. I know where a lot of the great places are.
Okay. So before I let you go, Greg, one place to go in North Georgia for the fall, where you got to go?
Oh, well, for my family, it's always Bart's Pumpkin Patch. We've gone every year there since 2005, since my girls were little girls, and now they're grown adults. So we've been going there for a long time.
I'm looking out across the newsroom and I'm seeing other people giving me thumbs up because they're also big Bert's fans. So,
yeah.
Greg, thanks so much for joining us.
Not a
And
problem.
thanks, guys, for streaming along. We are going to have more news for you coming up after this. One of the stories I want to check in with you guys on is our Attorney General's campaign is now suing our Lieutenant Governor. Again, all of this dealing with who's going to be the next governor of the state of Georgia. We're going to get to that story and so many more coming up next. Welcome back in. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming along with us. We are checking your comments on our YouTube stream. Some of you guys say it's too soon to start decorating for fall. We've been having that discussion because of our weather forecast. And guys, if you are following the latest here in the state of Georgia, we have some news headlines to get to you about just in a little bit. But first, I'm going to check in with Georgia State Representative Eric Bell. He joins us live. Eric, hey, great to see you.
Hey.
I understand you're trading your suit for some boxing gloves and stepping into the ring tomorrow. Why are you doing that?
Well, I'm a proud graduate. Well, thank you first for allowing me to be here. I'm a proud graduate of Clayton County Public Schools. And since I've been elected and prior to then, I've always wanted to give back. And I found there's a local boxing gym in District 75, Champion Boxing. They've been a support for over the years, led by Christopher Scott, who's a wonderful community leader and advocate for all things Clayton in the state of Georgia. So this came about because we were looking at how can we support our school system? How can we get more funds? How can we help students achieve the Georgia dream of going to college or going to trade school and being entrepreneurs or becoming businessmen, our doctors and our lawyers and our teachers for the next generation? So we ideated while I was sitting there talking to him one day, and I said, well, how about I come in the ring? Let's do a boxing match, and hopefully people to come out. My friend Councilman Alfred Dixon, he agreed to be my opponent, and we're going to trade a couple of blows as we trade our suits, as we trade the dioceses, the chambers, or the council seats for some boxing gloves. Lately, we've been doing a little running, some training, just to get in shape. So hopefully he doesn't hit too hard because I'm not trying to get knocked out.
No,
but I got
you
a couple
gotta.
clothes for them too.
Yeah, you gotta keep your wits about you because you got a
Yeah.
job to do serving your constituents. So can you let me know a little bit if people are wanting to get involved, they're wanting to support, they're wanting to come out, when, where, when's the details of this boxing match?
Uh, the boxing match is tomorrow at the Tara Center. You can find on their Instagram or at Champion Boxing's Instagram or my Instagram at Bell for Us. It's 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to be going on around 3 o'clock for the main event. And it's going to be a great time. Make sure you come out. There will be different vendors and health vendors there, music, fun, food. It'll be a great time for the family, as well as we uplift our local students, uplift our local boxers for training, and uplift our community as they go back to school. The goal is to raise as much funds as we can. So next year that we can actually give out scholarships. For the last 2 years, I've been able to give out scholarships to students at Mundy's Mill High School. The hope is to expand that to Clayton County and the state of Georgia.
Wonderful. Eric, I understand you were a naval officer and public service is something you're really passionate about. For those who are unfamiliar, you're in District 75. What
Yeah.
area does that represent here in our state?
We like to say it's live in 75, and that is in the illustrious county of Clayton. I serve the immaculate cities of Jonesboro, Morrow, and portions of Riverdale. So if you don't know where that is, if you ever landed in Atlanta, if you ever took a flight out of Atlanta, that is Clayton County. District 75 is about 5 minutes south or about 5 minutes east. So we're right here, down here in the southern suburb of Atlanta, having a great time, raising funds, raising some gloves and fists for our students to fight for their future.
Eric, thank you so much for sharing your enthusiasm and passion with us this afternoon. It's been great to have you on our stream this afternoon on Friday.
Thank you so much.
Good luck tomorrow.
All right. Hopefully I don't have a black eye.
See you. I hope not. I hope not. You're going to do great. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Guys, we're going to transition to some news stories, and I do want to let you know of one that we just got into our newsroom. I just got the alert a little bit ago. Famed Apollo 13 moon mission commander Jim Lovell is dead at 97 years old. He was remembered for his legendary leadership in pioneering human spaceflight. We'll continue to keep you updated on this story throughout the evening, and as we go into our newscast, one of the things I want to keep you updated on as we follow some other stories here in our newsroom that we are tracking this afternoon. One deals with a lawsuit, actually. And it deals with a mother, the plaintiff known only as Jane Doe, who is filing a lawsuit in Gwinnett County State Court against the corporation behind the popular video game Roblox. And that's because she claims her 9-year-old son was groomed on the platform by adults posing as children. According to the complaint, the child was coerced into sending sexually explicit photos after being contacted by adults through the Roblox app. Now, the lawsuit argues that Roblox's platform design enables abuse by allowing unrestricted communication between users, and it fails to verify user ages and doing little to intervene even after promoting child safety. Again, all of this according to the complaint that was filed, and the plaintiff, that mother, is requesting a jury trial. Late last year, Roblox had actually banned kids under 13 years of age from certain interactive features, and it introduced accounts that allow parents to view their kids' usage. But again, we'll continue to keep you updated on this lawsuit out of Gwinnett County. Another big story we are following deals with Georgia's Attorney General Chris Carr now suing Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. And when we're taking a look at this story, it deals with their campaigns. According to court documents in this situation, the lawsuit says that Carr's campaign accuses Jones of exceeding the legal limit on campaign donations, and it points to a recent $10 million contribution he made to his own campaign. The both of them are headed to federal court. The lawsuit also targets a Georgia law passed in 2021 that allows Jones and other top leaders to raise unlimited funds through what are called leadership committees. So basically, Attorney General Chris Carr is saying that the governor and lieutenant governor and legislative leaders have set up these leadership committees to raise unlimited funds, and he's saying it's not legal, it's not allowed. Carr is also arguing his free speech and 14th Amendment right to equal protection are being violated, and he's asking the court to permanently cut off Jones' ability to draw money from that special fund. So we'll continue to keep you updated. But in other state news, if you are looking for your state tax refund, I want to let you know what the state is doing with that, because as of right now, Georgia has issued more than $1 billion in extra tax refunds. Earlier this year, state lawmakers approved the move to send surplus tax money back to taxpayers. And we know that when we're looking at this situation to date, the Department of Revenue has issued nearly 3 million refunds. That's about 90% of the refunds the department expects to put out. But if you haven't gotten yours yet, don't panic, because if you filed for an extension on your 2024 taxes, your money is expected to be sent to you in October. But if that's not the case, go to the State Department of Revenue's website to check your status, because it could be that you need to do some things to make sure you can understand whether or not that refund is still going to be coming your way. So we'll continue to keep you updated. But as we get into the Friday spirit, I want to show you a little fierce package taking down a bigger package, and that would be a little Pomeranian running out the door chasing after a bear. Maybe you're going into the weekend with this kind of attitude, but size clearly does not matter when it comes to guard dogs, and if you have a little dog, you probably realize this. But this feisty Pomeranian is proving that he's not going to take it, and that's because security cameras caught the moment a bear entered a home in Vancouver. The bear just taking a stroll, and according to the homeowner, the bear likely helped itself to that Pomeranian's meal, and that's why the Pomeranian was just so incensed. The dog began barking and chased the intruder outside until it was off the property. The Pomeranian is a 3-year-old named Scout. The owner takes off trying to save it, but the homeowner who shared this video says the bear had actually helped itself to that pup's breakfast. Again, probably why the dog was so riled up. So maybe you're taking some fierce Scout Pomeranian energy with you into your Saturday, into this weekend ahead. If so, we don't blame you. But you could also check out our state parks and maybe take some fierce archery energy with you as well, because our Chris Rosenthal is actually out taking a look, and we're going to see if we can check in with him in just a little bit. I can see his camera coming around. So, Chris, thanks so much for joining us. I hear you. Tell us what to expect if we wanted to head out to Panola Mountain State Park for maybe some archery lessons, maybe enjoy some of the wilderness, some nature this weekend. How do we get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I'm kind of in the woods right now, and I'll show you why, because we have some other targets, not just those paper targets. We have a boar here. This is the 3D range. If you have your own archery equipment, you can come out here and you can shoot. You can shoot with some simulated animals. But again, I'm here with Leslie Mobley. And Leslie, tell us a little bit about tell us about the classes. You have classes coming up this weekend, actually.
Yes, we do. Tomorrow and Sunday.
And what's the cost of it again?
It's $15 per person, and then they're about an hour long. During that time, we'll give you about 10-15 minutes of instruction and then let you shoot.
Awesome. Well, let's see you shoot. Let's see if you can hit this this boar here. Does he have a name?
He doesn't. We've been calling him Pumbaa.
Kumba. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can hit Kumba.
Nope.
Well, let's give you a couple more. What's the strategy here for aiming? You were telling me a little bit earlier about what.
So basically, with these bows, what you want to do is you want to put the point of the arrow where you want to aim it at, or where you want to hit, and then kind of take a couple shots and judge from there. So that one was high, so I'm going to aim lower than what I just did, and lower still.
Okay. Let's give him one more. I want to see him get hit here.
This is a little bit smaller target than what I'm used to.
All right, there we go. We got a good target. So awesome. So you guys, you can come out here this weekend. And it's you can come out here and get a class.
Love it.
It's so an hour, and you'll get some real shooting here. So
Awesome. Chris, thanks so much for giving us another live look and letting us know how we can get involved at our state parks this weekend in Georgia. If we want to come out, take some archery, we appreciate it. All right, I'm going to wave goodbye to Chris, you guys, and it's about time for me to wave goodbye to you here because we are going to begin to transition to our news at 4 o'clock. If you're streaming along with us here in our YouTube chat, it's been great to have you. Great to discuss some fall, whether it's too soon. I know it's a big topic right now as we look ahead to September and the temperatures cooling off. If you're streaming along on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you back here. But for now, let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to have the news at 4 coming up in just a little bit.
He fired a total of 6 shots, and both the officers are extremely lucky to be alive today. That firearm was going off next to our officer's head.
That's when Chief Creer says Daniels jumped onto a train to the West End Marta station and threw his gun on the roof of the station. He says Daniels then drove away from the scene until the U.S. Marshals Task Force tracked him down and pulled him over in Gunnersville, Alabama.
When you give them a bad guy to find, they find him. and it's very rarely that they don't.
He says Thomas has a shrapnel injury to her knee and temporary hearing loss from the gun being fired at close range. He says Williams remained in the ICU undergoing surgery after a gunshot wound to his arm. Despite the shooting, Chief Career stresses Marta is safe to ride. He says both robberies and aggravated assaults are down this year.
We are currently in a mandatory overtime detail the whole month of August, because in the history of Marta, the fall, which is kind of interesting, fall, August, September-ish, seems to be where we uptick the most in crime. So we've kind of wanted to take a proactive approach to that and put a lot of resources out there.
Again, both officers are expected to be okay. Daniels is being transported back to the Fulton County Jail, and he faces several charges, including aggravated assault and felony obstruction. The chief says that he is a local resident and he does have a minor criminal history, but he has not had any previous contact with Marta police. Live this afternoon.
Count indictment charging Sergeant Aldridge with deprivation of rights under color of law and falsifying records in 3 other cases. He resigned from the force yesterday after the indictment was returned. Aldridge faces a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison for each federal civil rights violation and 20 years in prison for each false report. New at 4 today, a Georgia man is in jail accused of threatening to kill President Donald Trump. Authorities arrested Juan Rashawn Porter of Rome after they say he made several threats against the president in a TikTok live stream. The U.S. Secret Service, along with Floyd County Police, say they found 2 pipes, pistol ammunition, tannerite, and an explosive inside the home. Federal prosecutors have charged Porter with making threats. He remains in custody until a detention hearing on Tuesday. Also new at 4, we are getting a look at the driver charged in a deadly chase with state troopers in Hull County. Georgia state troopers believed Daniel Thomas Davis was driving a stolen pickup truck and attempted to pull him over. Now that is when he led the trooper on a chase and rear-ended another driver. The victim, 50-year-old Augustin Rivera of Gainesville, died of his injuries. Davis faces several charges, including eluding police, murder, and DUI. The DeKalb County School District plans to meet next week to discuss the possibility of installing vape sensors. It would cost the district $1.6 million to purchase and install 436 vape sensors. Now, the district also plans to hire training personnel to explain how to use the systems. The sensors would be put in spaces like restrooms and locker rooms and will alert staff whenever smoke from a vape is detected. Marietta approved similar devices last month, and installation has already begun. Georgia has now issued more than $1 billion in special tax refunds. Earlier this year, state lawmakers approved the move to send surplus tax money back to taxpayers. To date, the Department of Revenue has issued nearly 3 million refunds. Well, that's about 90% of the refunds the department expects to put out. If you have not gotten yours just yet, don't panic. If you filed for an extension on your 2024 taxes, your money is expected to be sent to you in October. Now, if that's not the case, go to the Department of Revenue's website to check your status. Turning to weather now, a live look from Sandy Springs and the King and Queen buildings. Clear skies and sunny weather today. Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Greg Majewski has a first check of our weekend forecast. And Greg, what can we expect?
Well, you know, we've been running below normal since the beginning of the month. We haven't cracked 90 degrees since the end of July.
Which has been great.
And the big question is that going to continue into the weekend or not? And I think I got to answer that question. So anyway, what we're going to talk about right now is we are tracking a little bit of rainfall out there, not a lot. And this is about what you're going to see here all weekend long for the most part, especially on Saturday, I think here. You got a few little spritz there off to the east of town, but the real stuff is really up here in North Georgia here as we kind of move over to this side. Here we go. Again, over here, you can kind of see what's going on here with the rainfall. Again, just a few little chunks up here into the north. That's all we got for right now, and we're going to see that kind of fizzle on out for tonight. We'll get some more in here for tomorrow. Now, as far as our current temperatures are looking out, like out there, we're seeing temperatures here pretty much in the 80s right now. 81 there in Alpharetta, 87 in Cartersville, 81 in Douglas. So again, we're going to be seeing, depending on your cloud cover, that's really going to dictate how your temperatures are going to be here for today. You can see this right now. You notice it's up to 77 degrees there in Blue Ridge because of some rain that has fallen in the area, and they've kind of struck the rain lottery over here the last couple of days here. But generally temperatures here in the 80s. So we're going to see very similar conditions here for your Saturday as well. Now, if you want some summertime heat, just look out to the west here. We're at 95 degrees in Little Rock and 97 over there in Shreveport, but I'm not expecting those to come anywhere near us just yet. I think that's going to stay off toward our west here, but especially since that easterly wind is going to be continuing to stay with us. So our forecast for tonight looking like this. We'll see partly cloudy skies in the low 80s here for tonight. If you're going out to the Falcons game or going out to the Braves game tonight, shouldn't be no problems there, and then slowly cooling back through the 70s. Now, kind of a little bit later, we'll take a more detailed look at your 7-day forecast, and we'll let you know when we think temperatures will begin to start to climb back up.
All right, sounds good, Greg. Thanks. Tonight, the Atlanta Falcons will hit the field in their first preseason game of the year. The Dirty Birds will face the Detroit Lions at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and that is where we find Fox 5's Miles Garrett and Kelly Price. And guys, an exciting night for football.
Definitely. It's a dress rehearsal for the Falcons, but it's never a dress rehearsal for us. We're in our Sunday best, of course. It's not a dress rehearsal for some of this team's starters. Michael Penix Jr., Kirk Cousins, the quarterbacks, we will not see them, as Raheem Morris told us, but we will see a lot of other guys, and they do feel good about where they're at because of a scrimmage they actually had the other day. What were some of the kind of observations you maybe had from that scrimmage the other day, and why they're confident going into the season with that?
Yeah, Kelly, Raheem Morris has been adamant that this scrimmage is their de facto preseason game of sorts for these starters, but my eyes are specifically on the rookie class. As you know, a lot of them come on the defensive side of the football. We're going to be seeing those guys tonight in this game against the Detroit Lions. Obviously, guys like Georgia grad Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., the 2 first-rounders, the edge rushers. This is what the team wanted to address in this draft. James Pierce Jr. specifically has been a guy that has been lighting up the backfield, creating some plays back there, even a couple of skirmishes of sorts. It's all been sorted out, of course, with Matthew Bergeron like that. But Xavier Watts, how about the secondary too? The rookie out of Notre Dame, Billy Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma. Both these guys are expected to play, and both have been working with the ones. So really excited to see what these two can bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see all those guys you mentioned as well. They're guys that are poised to make a big impact on this defense. A lot of new faces for Falcons fans to see them suit up for the first time. But also, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. There's some faces there that maybe aren't the rookies, like Casey Washington, Chris Blair, guys we saw last preseason, but they have a chance to maybe make a difference in this season as well.
Yeah, you brought up Casey Washington. The wide receiver position is the one I'm really looking at because you have Darnell Mooney, a guy that has been out the entire preseason, probably won't play until the regular season begins, but Casey Washington had that connection with Michael Penix Jr. last preseason, Chris Blair as well, but Casey has been a guy that has really been connecting with Michael Penix Jr., specifically in that scrimmage just the other day. Made a couple of great catches, of course, some great throws by Michael Penix Jr. I'd say he's kind of got that inside track to potentially make the team. He's going to have to make a name for himself, though, Kelly, right here in this game if he wants to have that happen.
Well, and it's the last opportunity for a lot of these guys, these fringe roster guys, before the roster cuts loom in a couple of weeks, to make a lasting impression on this coaching staff, on this front office. Hey, keep me on the team, keep me for the practice squad, whether that's backup offensive linemen, a couple of the defensive pieces that we mentioned. But I think everyone that's going to be in attendance tonight, Falcons fans-wise, are excited to see those first-round picks, those edge rushers, and a lot of those defensive faces. But we'll bring it all to you guys later on. Miles will have plenty for you at Fox 5 News at 5 and 6, and then we'll have our pregame show at 6:30.
All right, we'll check back in with you in a bit, and I have to say, I love the outfits. You guys look great out there. Thank you. Breaking news now, we have just learned famed astronaut Jim Lovell has died. He died Thursday in Lake Forest, Illinois. He flew in space 4 times on Gemini 7, Gemini 12, Apollo 8, and Apollo 13, with the 2 Apollo flights riveting people back on Earth. On Apollo 8, he was one of 3 crew members to first leave Earth's orbit and fly to and circle the moon. And in 1970, he commanded Apollo 13 when an oxygen tank explosion turned the moon mission into a triumph triumph of on-the-fly can-do engineering. Jim Lovell was 97. Still ahead on Fox 5 News at 4, relocation of 12 teens who lived at a church in Rex. Clayton County's fire chief defends why the teens were removed. And a nationwide effort makes a stop in the metro area. What you need to know before using your debit card. A nationwide effort has landed in Metro Atlanta. The Secret Service making several big discoveries at retail locations across the metro to hopefully protect consumers. Fox 5 Kevin Stewart joining us live from College Park with more. Kevin.
Yeah, they're looking for skimmers. We rode around for several hours a day with various law enforcement agencies led by the Secret Service, and what we found was eye-opening.
From East Point to downtown, Forest Park to College Park, the Secret Service, USDA, and more are looking for this. Skimmers secretly attached to debit card keypads designed to steal your money, steal EBT info.
The goal here is to do whatever we can to reduce the amount of EBT fraud in the country.
A nationwide effort has landed in Metro Atlanta Thursday and Friday and turned up at least 40 skimmers this time. A nationwide effort that has determined Metro Atlanta, by percentage, is the second most common place to find skimmers, just behind New York City. The investigation is very specific.
We're looking for EBT theft. We're looking at the stores that a lot of the consumers would use who are using EBT. We would see that in some of the dollar stores, Dollar Tree type places. You'd see it in a Walmart. So there's no telling what you're going to see, but we try and look at the analytics.
Take a look.
There's different models. Some might fit over the entire piece like that.
A Secret Service analyst shows us what the skimmers look like, what to look for, but most are easy to miss.
How easily can you put those things on?
Just put it on. 2 seconds, like that. That's how fast it happens. So what will happen is they'll go into a store. This point of sale is right in front of the cashier. They'll say, hey, can I get a pack of cigarettes? Cashier will turn around, pop it right on, done. Just like that.
Authorities say sometimes it can be an inside job, but that's not common. This, they say, is about transnational crime rings.
The people who need the food most who are suffering, and it's a taxpayer that is suffering.
All right, now here's something to keep in mind when you look at the keypad. If it doesn't all light up, you don't see all the numbers lit up, that might be a problem. If you pull on it and it pops off, that almost certainly is a problem. This is a story that we will continue to follow, but for now, we are live in Fulton County. Kevin Stewart, Fox 5 News.
Now, very important information there. Thank you, Kevin. Well, back now for another check of our weather. I was out in the back lot this afternoon before the show, and it was actually kind of breezy out there for a bit.
We've had that persistent easterly wind that's been on us for the whole week. It's been very nice.
Yeah.
We call it the wedge sometimes, and this time of year, and more so in the winter and in the fall seasons. But it's definitely been nice. We've got a few showers out there right now, and this is about what I expect you're going to continue to see through the weekend. Now, the mountains have been here, kind of targeted here near LJ, seeing a few showers up this way over toward Blairsville, Hayesville, getting in on the shower activity. Fannin especially has been hit pretty hard the last couple of days, but this we're going to continue to see here through the weekend, dealing with it. The big question we're going to have to deal here is just the fact that we're dealing with cloud cover and mix of sunshine. We've got a bit of moisture trapped at the mid levels of the atmosphere with high pressure and control, and we can't clear this out. So we'll continue with these scattered shower threats. I think we'll see pretty much the same forecast we had today. We'll basically duplicate it for tomorrow here, as temperatures will be dependent on where you're getting the sunshine. That's going to be the big thing here. Now, if you want summertime heat, head on out to the west, my friend. Look at 95 degrees in Little Rock, 97 in Shreveport. And the question is, are we going to get that kind of temperatures in here? For right now, I don't think so. I think the next 7 days we're going to be looking okay. Now, we are watching things out here in the tropics. Of course, we're heading toward the peak of the hurricane season coming at us as we head towards September. This area to serve weather here, not indirectly impacting us, but a little bit of that weak low pressure is kind of reinforcing that easterly flow coming in there off the Carolinas just a little bit. Not worried about this one, and this one out here in the middle of the Atlantic, not worried about this one either. This one's going to stay out here in the middle of the Atlantic. Now, beyond that, if you go like to the 16th, 17th of the month, there's another wave we'll be watching. Just be careful with some of those stuff being posted out there on social media. You don't want to get caught in some of those, clickbait traps out there. So what we got going on here, we're going to continue with this easterly wind. We're going to see a spotty shower or two that's going to continue into your Saturday here. Again, nothing that's going to rain anything out, but I mean, it looks like the map's got the measles there. So maybe an isolated shower. If you get one, consider yourself the winner of the rain lottery. Rain chance tomorrow only about 20%. I think as we go into Sunday, the rain chances will be a little bit higher. We'll up to about 40% going into your Sunday here. Rainfall amounts through the weekend, really not amounting to a whole lot in here. However, if you get one of those stray showers that's not moving all that much, you may get a little locally heavier amount, but for the most part, not looking bad. The heavier rains will be down here off toward our south. So as we go and look at our forecast here for tonight, we're looking at 69 degrees in the city, 64 to 69. Again, temperatures in the 60s in August. We'll take it. No complaints from me. I'll definitely take it for sure. And then as we look for our afternoon highs for tomorrow, 80 to 87, kind of again, depending on how much sunshine, how much cloud cover you get. So we're going to continue with those partly sunny skies here through the weekend. How about the rest of the 7-day planner here? Your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast looking like this, as we're going to have the best rain chance coming in here on Monday, about 60%. And then we'll increase the temperatures up to flirting with 90 degrees as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, thank you, Greg. And time now for a look at Skyfox traffic in the evening rush hour. Heads up, drivers on the south side perimeter. Police just cleared a crash to the shoulder heading east at Boulder Crest Road. All lanes we're told are back open, but it created heavy delays from I-75. Now, this will take some time to ease up. Consider using Forest Parkway as an alternate. The west wall of 285 southbound from I-75 down to I-20 will run you about 25 minutes. And the east wall southbound from I-85 down to I-20 is about a 25-minute trip time. When we come back, President Trump signs an executive order changing the way you invest in your 401k plan, what this means for your retirement, and how some Americans have reacted. And more federal officers have started patrolling the streets in Washington, D.C., what the president wants to do to teens caught breaking the law.
You can listen to Fox 5 Live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
President Trump has put more federal officers on the streets in D.C. The president says the move is in response to the recent rise in youth crime. The increased patrols kicked off last night. Officers made several arrests for stolen firearms and illegal drugs.
If you're 14, 15, 16, or 17 years old, you get coddled, as you do in most American Democrat cities. They need to have consequences. They need to understand that enough is enough, that we're going to put them in jail or some kind of youth rehabilitation detention facility.
The increased patrols come after a former DOJ staffer was beaten up by two teenagers earlier this week. President Trump wants to see more teens caught breaking the law tried as adults in D.C. Current law allows judges to go easy on defendants under the age of 24. President Trump has signed an executive order to open up new ways to save for retirement. It asks the Labor Department to re-examine regulations on 401ks to allow people to invest in riskier assets such as real estate, private equity, and cryptocurrency. A 401k accounts for an estimated $12.2 trillion in retirement savings nationwide. However, financial advisors say there are potential risks tied to those alternative investments. Americans have mixed reactions to the changes.
Less safe, less predictable, and much more importantly, less transparent.
More flexibility within to choose how the money is spent, or types of funds, but not like any man for themselves.
On the one hand, people could do more of what they want with their money. By the other hand, like, you'd have a lot of speculation and people could make a lot of bad decisions. So, I mean, I wouldn't be in favor of it.
President Trump's executive order doesn't immediately change retirement investments through employer-sponsored accounts. Federal agencies would still need to rewrite regulations to allow expanded investment choices. Well, back here at home, there's a new postmaster general in Marietta. This morning, Jeremy Holland got sworn in by the U.S. Postal Service. Now, Holland will oversee retail and delivery operations for 3 carrier and finance facilities. He will manage more than 400 dedicated employees who serve customers by delivering on a total of 167 city routes and 44 rural routes.
I tell my guys that, to never be satisfied, to always keep pushing. And I know that we'll get there because they are a very determined staff. And they're the best.
Holland began his career with the Postal Service in 1997 as a rural carrier. In 1998, he converted to a part-time flexible city carrier in Rome. Within 3 years, he pursued various leadership opportunities. After the break, the Clayton County Fire Chief defends his decision to relocate some foster care teens from a church in Rex. We hear from him next.
And live Viper tracking a few showers across extreme north Georgia. So what are your rain chances through the weekend? We'll have a detailed look coming your way right after the break.
Clayton County fire officials held a news conference this morning to discuss the recent relocation of 12 teens who were living at a church in Rex. Late last month, officials removed the foster care teens from the Now Faith Apostolic Ministries. Fox 5 first reported this story last Friday. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is in Clayton County with the details.
The Clayton County Fire Chief wanted to set the record straight Friday about why his department removed a group of teens from a local church last month. He says their safety was his only focus.
We acted strictly on the presence of fire code in which we are authorized.
More than a week after Clayton County officials removed 12 teens from Now Faith Apostolic Ministries in Rex, the county's fire chief defends the decision.
The primary concern was not the living conditions themselves, but the unauthorized and unsafe use of a building not designed or approved for a board and care facility.
Chief Tim Sweat says the church violated multiple fire codes. Officials say the teens who were under state supervision were improperly living in the church's basement. The fire marshal's office issued multiple citations because of the issues.
Not one single required fire code provision for a board and care home facility was met.
During the news conference, they showed pictures of the problems they found, like wood covering windows, which they say made them unusable in the event of an evacuation, and rooms without fire suppression systems. He said the church also lacked a system to automatically unlock doors in case of a fire.
Every safeguard that protects life in a fire, detection, notification, suppression, and safe egress was absent.
Last week, the church's pastor said they were working to fix the issues. He also said the state fire marshal's office authorized the church to temporarily house those young people after its location in Riverdale flooded. But Clayton County said that's not true. We reached out for an interview with the pastor Friday morning, but didn't hear back. He told Fox 5's Christopher King this last week.
Was there a serious fire hazard?
No, I don't see it being a serious fire hazard. There is adequate ingress and egress.
Clayton County leaders reacted after the news conference.
But we still must look at the church as an emergency shelter and an emergency fix for people in need at emergency times.
They have to follow the state rules, especially when children are involved. We're going to take care of children definitely first.
The Code Enforcement Board will be reviewing the citations issued for the fire code violations next month. In Clayton County, Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Taking a look at our top stories now. A man who police say shot and injured 2 Marta police officers last night is in custody. The U.S. Marshals Task Force arrested him in Alabama. Marta Police Chief Scott Crerar says officers Raven Thomas and Carlos Williams confronted Christopher Daniels for urinating on the 5 Point Station platform. While the chief says when officers tried to arrest Daniels, he shot at the officers. The DeKalb County School District plans to meet next week to discuss the possibility of installing vape sensors. It would cost the district $1.6 million to purchase and install 436 vape sensors. The sensors would be put in spaces like restrooms and locker rooms and will alert staff whenever smoke from a vape is detected. And tonight, the Atlanta Falcons will hit the field in their first preseason game of the year. The Dirty Birds will face the Detroit Lions at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, the preseason opener will give Atlanta its first live look at a rebuilt defense and its offensive approach with Michael Penix Jr. at the helm. And it's nice to see the weather's cooperating for the first big preseason game.
Got football going on. Got the Braves still playing. They're both kind of kicking off at the same time, first pitch and kickoff. But the weather's good for folks going to those games. It should be pretty good. But the question is it going to stay that way for the weekend?
How about it?
Let's get into that. Let's go take a look right now. We are tracking some showers up across North Georgia right now. You can see that there over near the Ella J area and kind of tracking over toward Blairsville. This area has been kind of hit for several days in a row now with some of this rain here kind of falling up here from Blairsville, Blue Ridge down to LJ, south of Fannin County here. So again, probably going to see the same general area, I believe, for tomorrow as well. But again, it'll be very spotty at best. So if you get a rain shower, just consider yourself kind of winning the rain lottery there as we take a wider perspective here. Again, not seeing much in the way of activity, and things should be dying down here as we go into tonight. As you look at the wider perspective again, very isolated and very spotty. All right, let's look at our current temperatures out there. We're currently at 81 degrees at Atlanta. Get a little more sunshine. It's 88 degrees up in Cartersville, 81 in Cumming, 80 in Conyers, 80 in McDonough, and the clouds have really been favoring the southern zones here for today with the cloud cover. So it's kept the temperatures down. Noonan at 79, Griffin at 78. So you see the thicker cloud deck here, a little more sunshine here, and of course we're rain-cooled 77 up in Blue Ridge. Now, if you want the heat, you can go out to the west, my friends. They're dealing with the heat out there. Shreveport 97, 95 in Little Rock, and folks have been asking me, hey, are we going to get the 90s back in here? And right now, I'd say not to the weekend at least. We're looking pretty good. I think most of next week as well, as we're going to continue with this easterly flow, this wedge of cooler air or drier air, if you want to put it there. So it's going to kind of continue in here. Now, as we go through the weekend, though, we're going to see some changes. The winds are going to become a little more southeasterly. So by the time we get to Sunday, you're seeing the scattered rains in here, and then we're going to see it increase. See a much wider chance for scattered rains and thunderstorms going into Monday. So it looks like you're going to need the umbrella as you start the new work week on Monday with a better rain chance. Now, through the weekend, though, any rain here is not going to really amount to a whole lot. If you do win the rain lottery, say that real fast, you'll consider yourself lucky. But I think for the most part, a lot of it's going to stay dry, and temperatures are going to continue to run below normal high 90. We're not going to be hitting that here through the weekend. So your Saturday forecast looking like this, as we'll see temperatures here topping out generally probably into the middle 80s here for the afternoon. A mix of sun and clouds throughout the day, and limited rain chance, only running about 20% for tomorrow. We'll increase that to 40% there on Sunday, as you saw on that model data there, and up to 60% on Monday. And the temperatures start to slowly climb, flirting with 90 degrees as we get toward Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, looking good there. Thank you, Greg. Time now for a look at Skyfox traffic in the evening rush hour. We have a new crash to warn you about on the downtown connector. It's heading north at Peachtree Street. Police and a wrecker are on scene. 3 center lanes are blocked. It adds to heavy delays from Langford Parkway, so you should consider using I-285 as an alternate route. Now, we're also watching a stall at the Brookwood interchange. 1 center lane blocked on I-85 southbound just before I-75. That's causing delays from North Druid Hills Road, and Buford Highway is a possible alternate there. We have breaking news for you now out of DeKalb County. That is where police are on the scene of a gas station shooting. We have live video, you see it there, of the scene from Skyfox 5. This is at the 5000 block of Stone Mill Way in Tucker at a Citgo gas station there. As you can see, a number of police units are on scene. We do not have any information about what led up to that shooting or the condition of any victims at this time, but we continue to monitor this situation and we'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. Still ahead, a local emergency center turns to AI to help in times of crisis. After the break, see how the new system helps with response times.
Texas Republicans turning up the heat on their Democratic colleagues in the ongoing fight over the state's congressional map. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I'll have the details coming up.
Cobb County 911 has launched a major technology upgrade that will help save precious seconds during an emergency, and it's powered by AI. Fox 5's Denise Dillon takes us into the 911 center to learn more about this new technology.
Two of the biggest components, language translation, and how first responders can see video of the scene.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Cobb County 911 operators have a whole new way of getting help to callers.
What is your name?
Powered by AI, this new technology is designed to make emergency response faster, smarter, and more reliable.
Calls get delivered to the 911 center quicker, more location information, greater detail with that, the more resilient system. So in case of disaster or high call volumes, the system is able to handle that call load.
The 911 operator can now see what's happening through video from the caller's phone.
We will send our callers a link. They can click that link to allow us access for more location information and access to their camera. They can turn their camera around and we can see what they're seeing right in front of them.
What do you see across the street from you?
The video can be streamed directly to 911, as well as police and fire.
We'll be able to see, like on a house fire, for example, how actually involved this house fire is, so we can make sure we're sending an accurate response each and every time.
The system also cuts down on language barriers with real-time translation capabilities.
Could you tell if it was a man or a woman?
Una mujer. Era un hombre.
Obviously, emergencies don't wait for the translator.
911 operators call this a major step forward when it comes to helping the community.
It's that accurate, it's that advanced, and we are very excited about it.
The new system also allows for a silent chat option, which could be useful in a case like a domestic violence situation or a home break-in where the caller doesn't want to be overheard. In Cobb County, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
After the break, a big win for charity. How a GameStop mishap turned into big bucks for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Yeah, Deli meat plant at the heart of last year's deadly food poisoning outbreak will reopen in the coming months. The plant shut down in September while U.S. Agriculture Department officials suspended operations and withdrew the federal marks of inspection required to operate, saying the company failed to maintain sanitary conditions. Boers had permanently stopped making liverwurst and recalled more than 7 million pounds of deli products. USDA officials say they have thoroughly reviewed the plant and lifted the forced suspension on July 18th. Texas Republicans have ramped up penalties for their Democratic colleagues who fled the state over a redistricting proposal. Some of them are now visiting California, one of several blue states now threatening to redraw its congressional map as well. Fox's Connor Hansen has the details.
And the House stands adjourned.
The Texas State House convening again Friday without a vote. Texas Republicans need at least 100 legislators present to vote on their new congressional map. The changes would likely hand over 5 congressional seats to Republicans ahead of next year's midterms. Republicans say they've enlisted the help of the FBI to track down missing lawmakers.
And their powers are not confined to any singular state's boundaries.
Texas's Attorney General is considering legal action to remove missing Democrats from their jobs, and the governor says Texas police could force some of them to come back.
We need at least 12 Democrats. We believe that there are at least 12 Democrats in the state of Texas. We have a dragnet taking place as we speak right now across the entire state.
But many of the Democrats are continuing their protest. They've visited states like California, New York, and Illinois, where Democratic governors are now threatening to redistrict as well.
This is much bigger than Texas. This is about the entire nation.
Republicans point out some of those blue states have maps that already heavily favor Democrats.
That's ridiculously unfair, and the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done.
Missing lawmakers are also facing mounting fines each day they avoid a vote and will no longer be paid by direct deposit, forcing them to pick up their paychecks in person. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
A GameStop mishap turns into big bucks for charity. The fun comes to a halt on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and a passenger caught vaping on a plane. Fox 5 anchor Courtney Bryant joining us with stories from across America. Hey, Courtney.
Yeah, hey, Deidre. We will start in Illinois, where a police chase came to an end after the driver ran out of gas. Dash camera footage from the Peoria County Sheriff's Office shows one of its officers chasing the suspect on a motorcycle when it suddenly stops. The driver tries to use his feet to push the bike before an officer swoops in and makes an arrest. Officers tried to stop the driver for driving with an expired registration. They charged the biker with felony warrants, fleeing and eluding, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
And I see you're recording
You're not allowed to do that. Hey,
please record doing that.
Did you put your hands on me? She just put her hands on me.
No, she did
Yes, she
not.
did. She put her hands on me. She tried to grab my phone. No, but yes, but she put her hands on me. I have a lawyer. I am a lawyer.
Wow, trouble on a recent American Airlines flight after a flight attendant says she caught a passenger vaping in the bathroom. It happened Monday on a flight from Phoenix to San Francisco. The passenger, Peter Wynn, says he only took one puff of his vape before the flight attendant forced her way into the bathroom. He then says she put her hands on him. American Airlines says Wynn was removed from the aircraft due to disruptive behavior. According to the FAA, vaping on a plane is a federal offense. Check out this video from the Royal Caribbean Icon of the Seas. A cruise ship passenger took this video of a broken water slide. The company says a panel broke yesterday. Passengers started yelling, "Stop the slide," to crew members. Royal Caribbean says one person was injured after the glass fell onto the deck from the broken off slide. A bizarre Nintendo Switch 2 mishap has turned into a major win for charity. It started when a Staten Island GameStop store accidentally stapled receipts to several consoles. The staples pierced through and damaged the screens. GameStop turned the incident into an opportunity, auctioning off the stapler and the first damaged console on eBay. After almost 300 bids, the auction closed at $250,000, and the proceeds will go to Children's Miracle Network. So a little good came out of that mishap.
Great way to make lemons out of lemonade.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Lemonade out of lemon.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I got what you mean.
Thank you. What is the hottest toy of the year? Fox's Lauren Simonetti explains the lure of Laboos.
Laboos are the new Stanley Cups. The gremlin-like monsters are considered ugly cute and generally loved for their mischievous nature. This latest hot toy craze is being sought by kids and adults.
I have a little sister. She's been collecting them for some time since it became the craze. So I said, let me come in here and see a couple that I could find for her.
Oh, what a good brother. How many does she have?
Too many.
Pop Mart's mystery collectible Laboos are flying off shelves when you can find them. The issue is you can't buy them in stores. You can only pick them up from an online order.
I have a very upset 9-year-old girl out there because she wants a Labubu, and we don't even know what a Labubu is. So here we are.
People are traveling from all over to try their luck. How much is Mom willing to pay for Labubus should you find one?
Well, it's her birthday tomorrow, so probably quite a bit, I would say, to make her happy.
It would be really cool because I'll be able to bring it to school because loads of my friends have them, and one of my friends has 6 Labubus.
It's not just kids either. Adults are in on it too. What do you do with them?
You just collect them, you dress them up. I think I have mine.
Oh, you do? Look at this little guy. Pop Mart expects sales to have more than tripled in the first 6 months of the year, driven largely by the Labubu craze. Experts say what makes this toy trend different from others is social media.
People dedicate their channels to finding, hunting for Labubus, unboxing Labubus, going back to the store if they didn't get the one they wanted. We've seen this time and time and again. We've seen it with Beanie Babies, you see it with baseball cards. So it really depends what the next thing that's going to be picked up is.
The viral sensation has spawned a secondary market of fake Labubus called Lafufus in New York. Lauren Simonetti, Fox Business.
Fallout from President Trump's new tariffs continues, with India now refusing to purchase American-made weapons in protest of the new 50% tariff on Indian imports. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
Do you expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
President Trump is holding his ground as the tariff war escalates. On Thursday, those new rates went into effect, and some countries are pushing back, including India, which now faces a 50% tariff on imports sent to the U.S. On Friday, the Indian government responded by halting all purchases of American weapons. And to the north, Canada's prime minister says he's focusing on finding new trading partners and building the domestic economy.
We're having discussions with the Americans, but Canadians want us to focus here at home, build out home, and that's what we do.
But the White House says the tariffs are working, claiming they are bringing in billions of dollars in revenue every month and also giving companies an incentive to do business in the U.S., not overseas.
Donald Trump is grabbing it and bringing in all that investment into America. If you build in America, you're not going to pay a tariff.
Still, there are growing signs the tariffs could be weakening the economy, and they're starting to have a big impact on America's farmers, who are facing higher prices for fertilizer and machinery and limited options for exporting their goods.
We're seeing those trade negotiations come in. We're optimistic about that. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and I think our farmers understand that.
The White House is considering what it calls a, quote, market fluctuation plan centered on aid payments to farmers hurt by the tariffs. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Coming up, HBO Max cracks down on password sharing. Find out how much that extra user could cost you after the break. And the Candler Park Golf Course has reopened. The new improvements made to the park.
If you have an Amazon Alexa-enabled device in your home, ask her to enable the Fox 5 Atlanta skill so you can get local updates anytime straight from Fox 5.
The Candler Park Golf Course is reopened just in time for the weekend. You may remember the public course in Atlanta closed back in April to undergo significant renovations to its greens. The upgrades include more shaded areas, a better design to the golf course to improve playability, and a tree-lined environment. This morning, the city of Atlanta held a grand reopening to showcase the park's new features and to welcome players.
You know, the park is close to 100 years old, and it's important that we keep renovating or keep it up to snuff because golf is really a competitive environment, and we need to be able to provide a high-quality entry-level experience. And so Candler Park is really where you can come play 9 holes. It's a walking course, so you can have some physical activity while you're playing golf, and it's a great learning course.
The Candler Park Golf Course is designed for golf pros of all skill levels.
Rochester Public Utilities right now, only 1 outage so far. So we'll keep tracking the weather outages as they come.
All right, thanks, Zach, for that. Sorry, I just had to text my wife. Baby was sleeping well tonight, so that's going to be over with at this point in time.
A meteorologist faces criticism for action he took on air during severe weather coverage. KTTC News Chief Meteorologist Nick Hansen was 3 hours into his reporting on storms when he was caught on camera using his phone to make sure his family found shelter. After receiving messages from viewers calling him unprofessional, Jansen responded by saying, quote, "I take my job and your safety very seriously, but I'm also a husband and a father." He continued by saying, quote, "That's not me being unprofessional, it's me being human. I am a husband and a father first. Let's all try to show each other a little more understanding and respect in life." A Pomeranian in Canada was nothing but brave in the face of danger. Home security cameras caught the moment a bear entered a home in Vancouver. Well, that's before 3-year-old Scout laid down the law. Well, the dog began barking and chased the intruder outside until it was off the property. The homeowner who shared this video says the bear helped itself to Scout's breakfast, which might have been the final straw. HBO will crack down on password sharing. Starting next month, subscribers will be prompted to pay an extra $8 a month to add 1 extra user outside their household. That user gets their own account, password, and profile. HBO Max plans to use account data like IP addresses to identify sharing. This follows a similar crackdown by Netflix 2 years ago, which has boosted subscriptions. Well, time now to take a look at what's ahead on Fox 5 News at 5. Fox 5 anchor Tom Haynes joining us now with a preview.
All right,
Tom.
Deidre, coming up all new and next at 5 on this Friday, a nationwide effort has landed in Metro Atlanta. What the Secret Service found at local gas stations across our viewing area and how to keep your personal information safe. And the Atlanta Falcons return to Mercedes-Benz Stadium tonight, the team facing the Detroit Lions for their preseason opener. We're live at the Benz just ahead. We'll have all of that and so much more when you join us all new and next for Fox 5 News at 5. It starts right after the break.
Those two went head-to-head last year. Rahm was just too strong in the end, and he's coming on strong right at the end again, just to put immense pressure on this man, Wako Neiman, who has won 5 times this season, remember. Jon Rahm has yet to win, but because of his performances when he doesn't win, and this is another example of that, 4 over par down in 47th, it remains close. That was his second shot into 18, so a chance of birdie there to round off a disappointing opening day for our leader.
Well, it'll be John next, and he's got a difficult angle here. He may have to land this short of the green, unless he can get enough spin on it. And he's coming straight downwind.
I think he can get enough spin on this. If he lands it just a little left, he can land it about 2-1. Should skip and actually spin a little bit right, just like Watkins did. There's a little cut line as well. Wind just quartering off his left a little bit. Not that it really should matter on this short of a shot, but he does spin these wedges a lot. If anything, if he gets that just a little past it anyway, he'll be putting back into the wind.
Struck it nicely.
Big skip. Oh, man, that is like the fourth one today that has not spun on him.
Good shot, man. Just didn't grab. How are they not spinning it off? Can you guys walk off, please? You don't need to do this.
Well, Brendan Steele is having a rough day. This was his 6th shot at the 11th. So the way things are going, Brendan Steele would just be hovering above the relegation zone heading in to the final event of the season. That was Mito Pereira for his par at the 11th. A much better day for Mito Pereira today. It was an opening round 69 for Mito. Now, a reminder for everybody watching in the United States, 1 p.m. Eastern time, so 12 noon here in the Central Time region. Round 2, Super Saturday of Live Golf Chicago, and it's live on Fox. So Jon Rahm's going to go.
Well, again, with John.
Safety, which has been working to track down absent members in an effort to return them to our chamber. These efforts will continue through the weekend. For those that have fled to Illinois or to California, be reminded that the FBI's assistant has reportedly been enlisted, and their powers are not confined to any singular state's boundaries. As far as new administrative policies in our chamber go, Comptroller Kelly Hancock and I have enacted a new policy stating that any member absent for the purpose of breaking quorum will no longer have their paycheck or per diem deposited electronically. While the Constitution forbids us from withholding pay, it does not dictate how we issue the pay. Those checks must now be picked up in person on Capitol grounds, effective immediately. Starting today, to safeguard taxpayer dollars and account for forthcoming liabilities under Rule 5, Section 3 of House Rules, which authorizes fines for members absent without leave, 30% of each quorum-breaking member's monthly operating budget will be reserved and made unavailable for expenditure. Absent members must also appear in person to approve or enact any of the following: requests for travel reimbursement, personal action requests, including those increasing or decreasing staff salaries, approval for newsletters and House of Reproduction services. Failure to appear in person will result in the cancellation of your newsletters and the encumbered funds. We have all hands on deck. We are continuing to explore new avenues to compel a quorum, and will keep pressing forward until the job is done. Finally, today, Dr. Greg Bonin will file House Bill 3, the House's priority legislation for flood recovery and infrastructure funding, developed after 25 hours of testimony from Texans whose lives were upended by the July 4th floods. To those in California, Illinois, New York, or Massachusetts, wherever you may be, hear this. The bill cannot be referred to committee without a quorum. Every hour you remain away is time stolen from those Texans in need. Each one of you knows that eventually you will come back, and we will pass the priorities of the special session on the call. But with each passing day, the political cost of your absence is rising, and it will be paid in full. For the members' presence, I expect everyone to be here on Monday at the absolute latest. DPS is in the field to execute these warrants. Should they lead to the civil arrest of our absent colleagues over the weekend, you are on call. You will need to be available to return to Austin with a minimum of 6 hours of notice. Members, the call of the House remains in force. Under House rules, the House may adjourn from day to day. While I will call the House to order in a pro forma session tomorrow at 11 a.m., unless you receive a call to be here tomorrow because of DPS's good work, I will provide written permission to be entered in today's journal for each member registered as present during the session to leave the chamber and return 1 p.m. Monday. Members present today do not need to return until at 1 p.m. Monday. Members present today do not need to return until Friday. Until Monday. Mr. Guerin moves the House stand adjourned until 11 a.m. Saturday. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, and the House stands adjourned.
That was the moment there on the Texas House floor as they failed to reach a quorum once again, but putting more pressure on the Democrats, this time not allowing direct deposit to go into the banks there for the Democrats. They'll have to go and pick up if they want their paper check to come back to Texas. Right now, they are in different states, Illinois, Massachusetts, and California. We are expecting moments away from Governor Gavin Newsom and the Texas Democrats to be out in California to be making some remarks. We will be bringing that to you as soon as it does get going. We'll take a 2-minute break, and we will be back with more on Live. right, everyone, welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. We appreciate you continuing to join us as we bring you some of the day's biggest top stories, headlines, and, of course, breaking news as it does happen. We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. We are monitoring this situation that is happening out at Emory Point in Atlanta, Georgia, on the Emory Atlanta campus. There is reports of an active shooter situation that is going on. Just a little bit ago, Emory putting out a X post saying Emory emergency active shooter on Emory Atlanta campus at Emory Point. Run, hide, fight, avoid the area. We're going to show you that as they just posted this moments ago. So a very active situation that is going on right now for Emory College. We are continuing to follow this here for you. Skybox was just showing some aerials. It looks like they froze up a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But again, breaking news coming from the Atlanta area with this Emory University right now. It is on lockdown as the reports there of an active shooter near Emory Point. Okay, we are getting the aerials now back here, but looks like it's a little bit scattered right now. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for you. Once we get more information, we will pass that along to you and see if we could get any updates from the ground. We'll be waiting to see our station, Fox 5 Atlanta, to see if they will be giving updates as well, and we'll be checking it with you throughout the evening to see what that situation is all about. All right, everyone, we are keeping an eye, though, on California. Texas Democrats out there, as we've been seeing a tour of them from Massachusetts, Illinois, and California. Soon we will have Governor Gavin Newsom speaking with them and the media. For more on this, Fox News' Connor Hansen has a breakdown.
And the House stands adjourned.
The Texas State House convening again Friday without a vote. Texas Republicans need at least 100 legislators present to vote on their new congressional map. The changes would likely hand over 5 congressional seats to Republicans ahead of next year's midterms. Republicans say they've enlisted the help of the FBI to track down missing lawmakers.
And their powers are not confined to any singular state's boundaries.
Texas's Attorney General is considering legal action to remove missing Democrats from their jobs, and the governor says Texas police could force some of them to come back.
We need at least 12 Democrats. We believe that there are at least 12 Democrats in the state of Texas. We have a dragnet taking place as we speak right now across the entire state.
But many of the Democrats are continuing their protest. They've visited states like California, New York, and Illinois, where Democratic governors are now threatening to redistrict as well.
This is much bigger than Texas. This is about the entire nation.
Republicans point out some of those blue states have maps that already heavily favor Democrats.
That's ridiculously unfair, and the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done.
Missing lawmakers are also facing mounting fines each day they avoid a vote and will no longer be paid by direct deposit, forcing them to pick up their paychecks in person. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
All right, Connor, thanks so much for joining us there with the latest breakdown from Texas. All right, we are going back out right now to Atlanta. There is an active shooter reported at Emory College. Sometimes the Skyfox shot's going a little bit in and out, so just bear with us right now. But this is an active situation, and of course, very fluid at this moment during these breaking news situations where you get the initial call out of an active shooting situation. Emory College put this out to alert the campus and the community around the area, saying active shooter on Atlanta campus near Emory Point. Run, hide, fight. There has also been reports of multiple gunshots in the area. So we are waiting for more officials to be giving an update.
Hearing from officials at Emory University, they issued an emergency alert saying that there was an active shooter near the campus.
Let's get right out to Fox 5 anchor Russ Spencer, who's monitoring the situation with us. This looks like, Russ, that it's happening right right there on Clifton Road, right at that CVS, which is directly across the street from the CDC.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Courtney and Tom. This began around 15 minutes ago. Again, a very active shooter situation. We've witnessed a DeKalb County police vehicle, an SUV, with lots of gunshot impacts on the windshield and the front of that vehicle, and we have seen hiding behind those vehicles. And what we're looking at right now is Clifton Road being closed. The CVS is in that building on the upper right-hand corner, and that is where the long guns of police seem to be directed at this moment. APD says that one DeKalb County officer has been shot. That's what we know at this moment. One DeKalb County police officer has been shot. And I want to bring in an ear witness to what happened over there. My colleague, Rick Snyder, an executive here at Fox 5. As it happens, we're on Briarcliff Road in this same general area. And as the crow flies from our parking lot, this is not very far away, maybe 500-600 yards. Now, Rick, you walked outside. What did you hear?
So even before I walked out the back of the building here, and we're due west of where the location is or where the shooting took place, I heard a loud noise. There's a lot of construction going on around here, so I assumed it was something like that. As soon as I walked out the door, I heard 6 to 7 rapid shots in succession.
This would have been about 5 o'clock, is that right?
Yeah, somewhere around 5 o'clock, give or 2 or 3 minutes on either side of the top of the hour. And having shotguns before, it sounded